Welcome. I'm Sebastian Mahfood, and you're listening to WCAT Radio, the on-air wing of En route Books and Media, bringing you the dulcet sounds of Catholic wisdom.
Chapter 2. You can't handle the truth. There is no truth. What is logically wrong with the following statement? There is no truth. I realize that you may have heard this statement before. The fact is that this idea is very common in modern society. There is no truth, only what is true for you, or true for me, they say. There are no universal truths, only relative truths. But here's the problem. The idea that there is no truth is an idea that makes no sense at all, and anyone who holds it to it is irrational. I don't say that to be mean, but there is a major logical problem with the idea, and that cannot possibly be true. If there is no truth, then the statement, there is no truth, is not true. In order to have true statements, there must be such a thing as truth. But the statement itself claims that there is no truth, so the statement must be false. There is no truth refutes the foundation that it needs in order to be true. This is what we call a self-refuting statement. And this is not the last self-refuting irrational belief we will encounter in this book. Since this statement refutes itself, it cannot possibly be true. It is illogical. We will go deeper into the study of logic later, but here is another example of what I am talking about. Consider the statement, this statement is false. If the statement is false, then it is true, since it is not false. But if the statement is true, then it is false because it says that it is false. So the statement cannot be true, because then it would be false, and it cannot be false, because then it would be true. This is another self-refuting statement. In fact, this is not a statement at all, because it crosses itself out. In reality, it's just nonsense. It is the same way with the idea that there is no truth. Since it doesn't refer directly to itself, it is not sheer nonsense, but it is irrational, despite how common it is in the world today. What is truth? At this point, I usually have a student or two who is becoming uncomfortable with this idea of objective truth, and out comes the question, well then, what is truth? It is a great question, and he is not the first to ask it. Look up John 18:38. Thankfully, it has a very simple answer. Aristotle defined truth in a way that is so simple that he used words which are only one syllable when translated into English. To say of what is, that it is, or of what is not, that it is not, is true. Let's break that down. If something is, and we say that it is, then our statement is true. If something is not, and we say that it is not, then our statement is true. Here's an example. The statement, this page is white, either accurately describes the page, or it does not. Assuming that we have shared definitions of the words in the statement, we both know what the statement means. If the statement is correct, then it is true. If the statement is not correct, then it is false. To say of a white page that it is white is true. To say of a white page that it is not white is false. This can be summed up as the correspondence between idea and reality. If the idea and reality correspond with each other, then the idea is true. If a statement matches up with the way things really are, then it is true. So, truth is the correspondence between statement and reality. Since truth is this correspondence, you have never seen, touched, tasted, or smelled truth. Truth is not a physical thing that can be handled. Thus the title of this chapter. What is reality? And now comes the last objection to truth in the form of a question. For people who want to hang on to their idea that there is no truth, there is one last resort. What is reality? If it turns out that there is no reality, or that reality is subjective, just whatever we individually experience, then our definition of truth falls apart, because there would be no reality with which our thoughts can correspond. If there is reality, then we don't get to make up truth. If reality is not a thing that we just construct for ourselves, then we are bound to acknowledge the way things really are. This makes us modern people uncomfortable. We have been spoon-fed the idea that we can be whatever we want, and that we can do whatever we want. Being bound by anything, including reality, feels like a major imposition. Strange though it may seem, truth and reality actually give us freedom. If there is a reality outside of us, then we have a world in which to live, and other people with whom to interact. Truth allows us to make sense of the world and make informed decisions. A lack of truth in reality binds us up in ourselves. All we have are perceptions, which may or may not give us any real information. Reality is nothing other than what exists, including you. Reality is the way things are. Truth gives us contact with those things outside of ourselves. We can't know the truth. A sidestep of the truth issue, which is very popular, is to say that no one can know what is true. This is known as agnosticism, which comes from the Greek prefix a, which means not, and gnosko, which means to know. There are some agnostics who say simply that they don't know and are searching, like Socrates. But the type of agnosticism being discussed here states that knowledge of truth is not possible. While not denying reality or truth, this belief is an attempt to undermine our contact with truth. The problem with this statement is that it, too, is self-refuting. The statement, truth is unknowable, is a truth, which the person is saying he knows. If we cannot know truth, then we cannot know that we cannot know truth. Even this attempt to get around truth falls in on itself. To reject truth may be modern, but it is also insane. We call people insane if they have lost touch with reality. But what is that contact with reality except truth? And what is insanity but a denial in whole or in part of the way things really are? As soon as we become aware of some truth, we must believe it or risk insanity. Love of truth. Philosophy is the love of wisdom, and wisdom is a love of truth. Everyone loves truth, whether he realizes it or not, because we are all made for truth. Everyone is a philosopher. Some people just haven't discovered it yet. The Hebrew word for truth is emet, and it only has 3 letters in Hebrew. If the entire Hebrew alphabet is laid out, including the different forms of some of the letters, the 3 letters in emet are the first, middle, and last letters of that list. Truth is not just a part of what is true. The truth that we are after is the whole truth, beginning, middle, and end. We are made for complete truth.
We hope you enjoyed the program and will join us back for another show on WCAT Radio. This is Sebastian Mahfood. Good day.